What if I told you that the reason you're not making more money has nothing to do with how hard you work? In fact, working harder might be the exact thing keeping you broke. I analyzed the daily workflows of hundreds of professionals and found that 80% of their productive time gets consumed by 3 invisible bottlenecks that most people never even realize exist. These bottlenecks don't just waste time, they actively prevent you from accessing higher-level opportunities that generate real wealth. Picture this scenario. You check your calendar at 6 p.m. and wonder where the entire day went. Despite feeling constantly busy and overwhelmed, you answered emails, attended meetings, completed tasks, and crossed items off your to-do list. Yet somehow, you made zero progress on the projects that actually matter for your career advancement. This disconnect between motion and meaningful progress represents the fundamental gap between working hard and working smart. Most professionals mistake being busy for being productive, but there's a critical difference between motion and progress that directly impacts your earning potential. Motion creates the illusion of advancement, while keeping you trapped in the same financial bracket year after year. Progress, on the other hand, systematically moves you toward higher value opportunities that compound your income over time. The difference lies in understanding 3 invisible bottlenecks that drain your productive capacity without you even realizing it. The first bottleneck is context switching, and it's more devastating than most people comprehend. Every time you jump between tasks, your brain requires up to 23 minutes to fully refocus and reach peak cognitive performance again. This isn't just a minor inconvenience. The average professional switches contexts 300 times per day, which means your brain never actually reaches its full productive potential. You're constantly operating in a state of partial attention, where even your best efforts produce mediocre results. Think about your typical morning routine. You start working on a project, then check your phone for messages. You respond to an email, then jump into a video call. After the call, you try to resume your original project, but your brain is still processing fragments from the previous activities. This fractured attention creates a cognitive overhead that accumulates throughout the day, leaving you mentally exhausted despite accomplishing very little of substance. The second bottleneck involves communication inefficiencies that silently consume your most valuable hours. Research reveals that 67% of senior managers report spending too much time in meetings that produce no actionable outcomes. These aren't just boring obligations you have to endure. They represent a systematic drain on your capacity to engage in income-generating activities. While you're sitting in a conference room discussing updates that could be communicated in a 2-sentence email, your competitors are building relationships, developing skills, or creating value that translates directly into financial advancement. The financial impact of these communication breakdowns extends far beyond wasted time. Studies show that professionals lose an average of $21,000 annually due to these inefficiencies and unnecessary interruptions. That's not just opportunity cost. That's real money being extracted from your potential earnings, because your attention gets fragmented across low-value activities that masquerade as important work. The third bottleneck is the prioritization trap, where you work on urgent tasks that feel important, but generate zero financial value for your career advancement. This trap is particularly insidious because it creates a sense of accomplishment while keeping you financially stagnant. You respond to every email within minutes, attend every meeting you're invited to, and complete every task assigned to you. Yet none of these activities move you closer to a promotion, a raise, or new opportunities that would multiply your earning potential. Most people attack these bottlenecks individually, treating them as separate problems that require different solutions, but they're actually interconnected systems that amplify each other's negative effects on your income. Context switching makes you more susceptible to communication inefficiencies, which in turn makes you more likely to fall into the prioritization trap. The compound effect creates a downward spiral where working harder actually makes the problem worse. When you understand how these 3 bottlenecks create a compound drain on your productive capacity, you can see why working harder within this broken system never leads to breakthrough results. You're essentially trying to fill a bucket with holes in the bottom. No matter how much effort you pour in, the fundamental structure prevents you from reaching the level of focused productivity required for real financial advancement. Identifying these specific bottlenecks in your own workflow is the first step toward reclaiming the thousands of dollars they're costing you each year. But knowing what's broken isn't enough. You need a systematic approach to find exactly where these bottlenecks show up in your unique daily routine and begin dismantling them one by one. Hidden within your chaotic schedule are specific activities that generate exponential returns, but most professionals can't identify them because they're buried under layers of busy work. You know these activities exist because you've experienced glimpses of them. Those moments when 2 hours of focused work produced more meaningful results than an entire week of scattered effort. The problem isn't that you lack high-value activities. The problem is that you can't consistently access them because they're suffocated by tasks that create the illusion of productivity while delivering zero financial advancement. The Pareto principle suggests that 20% of your activities produce 80% of your results. But applying this to your workflow requires a forensic analysis of how your time converts to income. This isn't about generic time management or prioritization techniques that treat all tasks as equally important. This is about identifying the specific activities that create measurable financial returns and ruthlessly protecting them from the constant invasion of low-value distractions. Most people think they know their high-value activities, but when forced to track their time for 1 week, 89% discover their assumptions were completely wrong. They assume that attending client meetings generates income, but the audit reveals that half those meetings could be replaced with a phone call that produces the same outcome in 15% of the time. They believe that staying on top of email demonstrates professionalism, but the data shows that their most profitable projects advance during the hours when they ignore their inbox completely. The audit process involves categorizing every 15-minute block of your day into 4 categories: income generating, relationship building, skill developing, or administrative overhead. Income generating activities directly contribute to your current revenue or position you for immediate financial advancement. Relationship-building activities strengthen connections that create future opportunities or referrals. Skill-developing activities increase your market value or capacity to command higher compensation. Administrative overhead encompasses everything else that must be done, but produces no financial advancement. What you'll discover through this categorization is shocking. The average professional spends only 31% of their time on activities that directly or indirectly increase their earning potential. Think about the implications of that statistic. Nearly 70% of your productive hours get consumed by activities that keep you financially stagnant, regardless of how much effort you invest in them. You could work 80 hours per week and still make no progress toward your financial goals because the majority of those hours generate zero economic value. The remaining 69% gets consumed by what I call productivity theater. These are tasks that make you feel accomplished but contribute nothing to your financial advancement. Productivity theater includes reorganizing your digital files, attending meetings where you contribute nothing meaningful, responding to non-urgent emails immediately, and completing busy work that someone else assigned because they didn't want to handle it themselves. These activities create a false sense of progress while systematically preventing you from accessing opportunities that multiply your income. This audit reveals redundant tasks that ambitious professionals perform daily without questioning their necessity. The average person checks email every 6 minutes, fragmenting their attention and destroying their capacity for deep work. They attend status meetings that could be handled with a 2-sentence update. They participate in conference calls where they contribute nothing and learn nothing valuable. They complete reports that no one reads and respond to requests that aren't actually urgent. Each of these activities feels necessary in the moment, but the audit reveals their true cost in terms of displaced high-value work. The most successful professionals I've studied have systematically eliminated or automated these low-value activities to create space for exponential income opportunities. They don't just manage their time better. They fundamentally restructure their workflow to maximize the percentage of hours spent on activities that compound their financial advancement. This restructuring requires difficult decisions about which obligations to decline and which relationships to deprioritize, but the financial returns justify the short-term discomfort. Once you complete this audit, you'll have a clear map of exactly which activities deserve your prime mental energy and which ones are secretly keeping you financially stagnant. You'll see patterns in your data that reveal why certain days feel productive while others feel wasted. You'll identify the specific interruptions that consistently derail your highest value work and the low-impact obligations that masquerade as important responsibilities. The next step is redesigning your entire workflow around these high-leverage activities while building systems to handle everything else. The difference between working harder and working smarter isn't about individual tactics. It's about having the courage to completely redesign a system that's fundamentally broken. Most people tinker around the edges, trying to optimize a workflow that was never designed for financial advancement in the first place. Start your workflow audit tomorrow morning and track every 15-minute block for 1 week, because the bottlenecks stealing your income are only invisible until you shine a light on them. Your financial breakthrough isn't hiding behind more effort or longer hours. It's waiting on the other side of a systematically optimized workflow that amplifies your highest value contributions.
Hope you learned something new in this video. To keep improving your skills and get more tips like these, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. What do you want to see next? Let me know below.